Hi YouTube, Lance here. Welcome back to Ultimate Postman. Today we're going to do a repair on a camera lens. This is my 5D Mark III, and this is a macro lens, a 100-300mm Canon f5.6 macro lens that I just got. And unfortunately, the autofocus does not work. It sounds like this. Something is grinding inside of this lens and I want to find out. Let's pull this thing apart. I got this lens for a video I plan to make and I needed a macro lens. First thing you're gonna do, take this rubber cover and pull it off. You'll have to replace this adhesive when you put it back on. There's also adhesive on the inside here. You'll have to pull off and replace. Next step, take the focus assembly, this cover, pull it off. Same thing, there's going to be adhesive on here you'll have to replace when you put it back together. The next step for this is there are 6 screws you need to remove. 2 here, 2 here, and 2 more here. Now with those 6 screws off, you can carefully pull the bottom portion down. This will not come off during the repair. You can spin it around and see the focus assembly, all the mechanics that go for the focus along with the cables. Be careful not to damage any of these cables, otherwise you have to pull this thing apart more. This is the focus ring. Don't lose that. That can actually come down, or be careful and pull this guy up. Don't unscrew this screw right here, because that's going to keep this metal piece in place and you don't want to lose that either. Pull it up and twist it just a little bit to remove this top assembly. And now we can see what's wrong with this camera. Mechanical piece for the autofocus is grinding up against the top part of the lens. My guess is somebody, the previous owner or one of the previous owners, dropped this lens and that slammed this whole top assembly down, and that's why it's grinding up there. So what we're going to do is carefully take this apart so we can reseat this whole top assembly just up a little bit. That will be done by removing these 3 screws right here along with these 2 screws. Be careful not to damage this. And then these 2 screws right here, just unscrew those to remove this cover. I've got this cover off, but more importantly, we want to remove those 2 screws, because if we don't, these 3 screws right here might damage this cable. With this cover removed here and this loose, we have this metal stopper taken off. The next thing to do is be careful not to twist this so you don't damage the cables below it, but use something that you can pry this up and over this plastic piece right there so you can screw this off. I'm just going to use a flathead screwdriver. Carefully pry up on this and then turn it, what direction is this? Basically turn it in the unscrew motion. Now that we have this right here just up and over the lip, I'm going to carefully unscrew this top lens part. And now this is going to come off. If it gets stuck on anything else like this little barrier right there, same thing, either lift it up or use something to flex it over. And now this part is loose. The way this is this is screwed in, and you can see there's screws on here. And what I want to do is just line this part up right here so this doesn't grind on the plastic, but it has enough grip not to get loose. You turn it loose and then you try to just line up the holes, make sure nothing crazy. And on this one, I've done it too far down. So we're going to pull this out, let it click into the next stop up, and then see if we go in. It looks like we've gone in. So now that will line up where it should. As I was trying to put it back together, one of these things on the inside got loose. It's kind of the internal guide for the ring system. I've also gone through and cleaned up the teeth down here where the ring connects to the autofocus assembly. And I've cleaned up the teeth here. So now we're going to line this one up carefully, making sure that the guides are pushed in. Push this in, see where it goes. A little bit too loose. Careful, let it go down. Nope, still too loose. It's in. Turn this around. It's in, but this, as we turn it, is a bit too loose still. You can see that the teeth is not gripping where it needs to be. So just go in and let it go out. One more slot drop down, and this is in there perfectly. Let's put this back together. Got the holder here. That's the bracket that holds that motor into place. Need to connect this down first with the bracket that goes in here, and then we screw this in using a holder. To make sure this is aligned, I'm going to use the screw hole marks that are left here by the pressure of the screws. There it is. There's that bracket. Now I gotta get the flex flat cable screwed back on using the holder. All right, there we go. The assembly's back together. I'm going to tighten this all the way down first. This little plunger right here stops the motion, and that is the max. The focus ring for manual options goes on first, and you want to make sure that the hole here is lined up with where the mechanics are supposed to go. On the inside of this housing is the ring right here that signifies where your focus level is at, along with this, which is going to be the screw hole mount. Since I have it closed all the way, I'm going to spin this all the way around to where it's maxly shut. I don't know if that's a word, maxly shut. I'm going to line up this to where it should be screwing in. Careful not to destroy anything that's on there. Lift up the focus ring, so that is where it should lie. And I'm just going to also make sure that if I switch this to manual before screwing in, that I can manually adjust the ring and it's going to work. All right, there we go. Carefully assemble it without putting the screws in, just to test functionality. There it is, all the way to max and all the way to macro. A little bit further. That's the macro. Oops. Now make sure this is all together. I think it went up to auto as well. So if I switch this to auto, if I turn it, it makes that nice autofocus mechanical sound. Let's screw this back together. So remember, there are 6 screws that you need to do. The 2 here, 2 there, and 2 there. Before I finish assembling this all the way and putting the adhesive down, I'm going to switch this to manual focus down on the bottom. I'm also going to pull the focus lever right here all the way down to make sure it's on manual. Pop this guy in. It's going to stick on with some of that adhesive. So now it's on, now it should be on manual. Oh, there's an on manual. Might not be on manual. Or I'm going to push it all the way up to do macro. Basically, I just want to make sure it works as directed as functions. So this is on macro. Oh, there you go. Maybe it just wasn't in all the way. So now it's on manual. And if I switch it to auto, this doesn't work, and that should work. Now we're going to test it on my camera. I had to make sure it was facing something. One way I like to make sure its focus is working the way it should is take it all the way out of focus and then see if it focuses on stuff. There we go. It has been repaired. The autofocus is now working. All that's left to do is replace this adhesive that goes on here and on here, and it's pretty much as good as new. Now I just have to actually clean the lens. If you like this video, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment below. Do you want me to try to fix your gear? Let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'll allow you to send me a piece of camera equipment and I'll see if I can fix it. This has been Lance, Ultimate Postman. Have a great day.